Good?
Yep.
All right. Quincy Linton to talk for the defense. So we'll take questions for Quincy.
Quincy, tell me a little bit about what you know about Villanova and the challenge ahead.
I think they're a veteran team. They got a lot of older guys. And as far as their offense, they have three legit running backs. And I think we have a task on our hand.
They didn't play last week. You guys did play. Is there an advantage at all?
I think so. I think those guys are going to come out fresh, and we're expecting that. And they had a lot of time to plan, but we just have to go out and be us at the end of the day.
Because Coach talked about playing Villanova. I mean, the two teams haven't played since '99, but there have been some great games prior to this. 1991 here, dramatic catch. 1997 there. YSU was down 21-0. Does he go back there?
Oh, yeah. Coach mentioned that this morning, and he talked about how close the games were in the past. It's been a while, but we think they match up good against us as far as depth and talent because, I mean, we're the same type teams. They try to establish the run, and we try to do the same. So it's going to be a battle to see who does the same thing best, if that makes sense.
There's a nostalgic atmosphere that comes with Villanova because of the history with this team and the national championships. Is that something you're kind of hoping some of the fan base rallies around and says, hey, listen, I remember those games at Villanova. Let's get there. Let's be behind the Penguins when it comes time Saturday.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think it's a lot of history with this. Coach mentioned it this morning. I'm not too familiar with it besides what Coach told me, but I think it goes way back.
Coach mentioned last week about how you guys were getting back to the basics, getting back to fundamentals a little bit, doing stuff that you did before the season started, goals, that kind of thing. How did the approach change this week, compared to last week?
It really didn't because at the end of the day, we just got to focus on us. No matter who we play, we got to do what we do best at the end of the day. So.
Going back on the road, Quincy, so the importance of that road focus.
The road focus is very important. We know we have to dominate on the road in order to get where we want to go. So I mean, it's another task, and I think we're looking forward to it.
Let's put up some big numbers last Saturday. You want to be on the uptick at the right point of the season. Does it feel like this team is heading in the right direction, playing its best football when it's most important?
Yes. I think last week was good momentum for us. I think we have high ceilings, and last week was a boost. It was a slingshot towards this week, and I think we just got to keep the ball rolling.
Obviously, they have some good receivers, good backs. I know you touched on it a little bit. Do you know much about what the receivers do?
Oh yeah, they're good. They're good in all positions, but like I said, I mean, we just got to do what we do best, and if we do that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Wonderful. Thank you, Quincy.
Sir.
Good job, bud. Good. All right, we got Tyshawn to talk for the offense. So we'll take questions for Tyshawn.
Tyshawn, what did you take from maybe coaches' look back on the history of these two teams? Because like I said, with Quincy, there's some nostalgia that comes with Villanova and playoffs and really exciting moments for this town in years past.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because President Lafferty came from Villanova, and she was talking about early in the season how we're going to play them week 1 next week or next year, and how when they played in the 90s, it was always down to the wire and want to kind of bring back that sort of rivalry from the 90s. So I think it's pretty cool that we get to meet up with them in the playoffs and renew that rivalry, and then next year, week 1, it'll have even higher expectations just because it'll be a playoff rematch. I feel like this is a good thing for both schools to renew this rivalry for sure.
They didn't play last week. Had to buy you guys play. Is there an advantage one way or another?
I think it can go both ways. For them, they get the rest up, get healthy. They're going to be a little fresh. But I feel like for us, we keep the ball rolling. For the outing that we had at Murray State, then we come out this week and we were rolling, on both sides of the ball. And I feel like I said, it works both ways. It's advantageous both ways, but, at the end of the day, we just got to go out and play ball. We can't look at it like, they had an extra week. We prepare just like they prepare, and the best team going to go out Saturday and win.
Is this more about you guys just doing your thing?
Yeah, we say that for any team. If we if we beat us and just do what we do best, we're going to like the outcome at the end of the game. So the biggest thing for us is to go out and just do what we do best, and that's play ball, regardless of who the opponent is.
From a defensive standpoint, what do they bring to the table?
They're a 3-down front. They like to do a lot of twist games, and their backers flow. They got a really good secondary. They're a really sound defense, really good team, you know. But at this point, you're not going to play any cupcakes. Everybody going to be legit from here on out. But as I said before, we just got to go out and be us. If we do what we do and we do it well, we're going to like the outcome.
What about the road focus?
Road focus is important, considering the fact that every game from here on out, God willing we win, is going to be on the road. So we have to have that road focus and be locked in because, you know, you can tell it's a little different from when we play in stand ball versus when we on the road, you know. We have to play on the road like we at home. Like, I can't explain it. Like, we have a different chip when we at home. But we got to bring that on the road, especially with the stakes now is win or go home, you know. So the road focus is going to be really important. Coach is stressing it, and we're going to be locked in for sure.
Great.
Thank you.
Sean. Great job, buddy. I'll take questions for Coach.
Doug, you've been around some of these matchups. I think in '91
Mhm.
you were here. Do you go back and talk to the players about
Yeah.
some of these great matchups with Villanova?
You know, 91, 92. I do. None of them were born. You know, but I always believe you have to talk history, especially at a place like Youngstown State. So we did that all summer. You know, when we go through camp, we're talking about the tradition, the history, the championships, the playoffs. And every week when we prepare for opponent, we do a little history lesson on that opponent and when was the last time they played. And, you know, what they learned today on a Tuesday morning practice was, you know, those games were intense football games that were won by Herbie Williams making a great catch at the end of the game, and in bad weather, a pro kicker, Jeff Wilkins, knocking it through for a 1-point win, and next year, 3-point win. I mean, they've just been battles. And, you know, the history lesson is I really believe these two programs are very similar. They were similar in the 90s. We're trying to get it back. You know, they've been doing it consistently. They've been in the playoffs. You know, we went back and looked when they're in the playoffs, you know, 3 years out of the last 6. And that's what we're trying to get accomplished. We're not there yet, but understanding, you know, this is a program that's been built over consistency. I mean, you know, Coach has been there, you know, since Coach Franny's been there since 1987. Can you imagine that? I just graduated high school in '86. So the consistency that they've had in that program over those 30-some plus years, whether he was the offensive line coach, coordinator, to head coach, is unbelievable. So, you know, they got a remarkable tradition there, and our kids need to know that, hear that. And, you know, this time of year, you know, it pits leagues against leagues, which makes it exciting, I think, for fans to see. And so I've never been there, though. So this will be our first trip to Villanova, you know, but watching them on film, have all the respect. They're fundamentally signed. They're physical. They're big. They're athletic. They're like the teams in our league, the top teams in our league. And there's a reason why they're co-champs of the CAA.
From a fan base standpoint, this is the kind of game, the kind of matchup that has some nostalgia to it. People will remember the '97 game. I would assume that you're hoping that it brings and draws people out when you see Villanova on the schedule.
Yeah.
It's a drivable, doable thing.
You know, that older crowd. You know, so, you know, it was a long time ago. But yeah, and you know, we can't focus on, I do believe we have tremendous support in the Valley, in Youngstown. You know, things have changed a little, you know, over the course of time with, you know, social media and watching games wherever you are. You could be sitting anywhere and have your phone on you. You know, but those are things we can't control. You know, those really true red and white fans, yeah, probably will make the trek over to Philadelphia, and I'm sure we'll hear them.
But they didn't play last week. They had to buy you guys plays.
Mhm.
How does that kind of figure in with them?
I don't think it does. A bye week's always good at this point of the season. We always have that bye week after week 3, which is not good timing. But, when you've played a season and played 11 football games, it's kind of nice to get some guys healthy, get them in the training room. You can lighten the load a little bit. So I'm sure they're smart on doing all those things. And, they had extra prep, but, those things you can't worry about. I don't put it into, we got to focus on us. We just came off a Tuesday practice, which is our most physical. And now we got to make the corrections this afternoon, and we got to go out and have a great Wednesday practice. And, practice execution, we live on it. Practice execution becomes game reality, and that's what the game's going to come down to, who can execute offensively, defensively, and special teams.
With the way the offense played last Saturday, you guys really struggled this year on the road on the offensive side. So how can you take that now to Villanova?
I don't know, struggle there, Austin. If you look at I don't know, UNI, I don't know how many yards we had at UNI or how many yards we had at South Dakota, but those were pretty explosive offensive things, and I think anytime you go on the road, I would say we didn't start fast, at South Dakota. UNI, we let them back in, took a lead late, but I thought offensively, we threw for a lot of yards and, again, tried to establish a run game in those games. But when you go on the road, you're in a foreign environment. It comes down to the 3 keys for us is you got to have an opportunistic offense, meaning, when you have opportunities, you're in the red zone, you got to get points. You got to score touchdowns. You get a turnover. Guess what? You got to get points. You got to get you get a 3 and out. You got to get points. You got to get touchdowns. It comes down to this time of year of having superior special teams, and that's an area I feel good in our kicking game. We want to be great in our kicking game. We got to eliminate the penalties, so we're going to put an extra focus just this week in cleaning those things out because, again, they have film on us. They see, and we've had some mistakes on those special teams, and we got to clean that out. And then just being relentless on defense. When you go on a road, you got to be relentless. I was proud of our defense against Indiana State, our last 2 road games, and against Murray State. And it starts with stopping a run against a team that really wants to establish the run, so the run fits, and just not letting our secondary get lulled to sleep that they hit their shots, which they do. That's why their quarterback, again, when I look at them, I think we're very similar. Both teams are trying to establish the run. They have a quarterback that can hit you deep. He's thrown for over 2,200 yards and 19 touchdowns. They do you put a lot of guys in the box, they're going to take their shots downfield. So when you go on the road, again, you just got to stay so focused. And we talk about that road focus. It hasn't been perfect on the road. But we're striving that it has to be now because they started the season with 133 teams. We're down to 16 teams. And this Saturday, those teams are fighting to be into the final 8.
Last week we talked about how you guys got back to basics and fundamentals after a long 11-game regular season. How did the approach change this week? After what you guys did last week?
It really didn't. We went out today and the same thing. We're going to focus on the fundamentals. It comes down to blocking. It comes down to tackling. I mean, they got 3 strong backs that they're going to give you every play. So we got to focus in on tackling. We got to finish on those run fits. And offensively, it comes down to ball security. We got to take care of the football. I think when you get into games like this, that fundamental, we have a fundamental period today that, those are the things we focus on. We focus on ball security. We focus on tackling. We focus on creating those turnovers. And at this time of year, the teams that can do that on a given Saturday probably have a better chance of winning football games.
Pressure may not be the right word, but because it's one and done now, you're in the final 16. Is there more, whatever, I don't want to say pressure, but for lack of a better term, is there more pressure not only on the staff but the players a little bit?
When we got off that plane against South Dakota, I thought there was tremendous pressure, and we talked about that with our kids. I've said it many times. Pressure is a privilege. I mean, there's expectations, and when we lost those 2 early games in our league, our room for error eliminated. So we knew every week was going to be a pressure game. We lose against Illinois State, not standing up here and talking, and we had to kick a last-second field goal to win that game. We lose to Missouri State, and we'd be standing up here talking to you. So, the pressure is every week. To win college football games is hard. Yeah, this time of year, guess what? The winner goes on, loser season is over. But we can say the same in our that every week in our league. You lose a game, you're out. You're out. And we saw that with UNI at the end of the season. You saw that with Illinois State. They didn't get in because of that. Fortunately for us, we were the last team in. We went biting, scratching, clawing to get in, and fortunately for us, we got in. So, we got to make the most of that opportunity.
Besides Benny, was everyone else, good to go?
Yeah, everyone practiced today, which is good. And you're always going to have dings, and you're nursing guys, especially the guys that just run through a wall 40 plays a game. Those things that you get to game 13. This is the 13th game. We played 12 games of physical football, and there's certain guys that are always at that point of attack. And we try to take care of those guys because I know, when the ball's placed at 12 o'clock, those guys go hard and they're going to be physical. But, they got to recover, and, we try to use this week, and we limit the reps some of those guys get. But they got to go through practice. There's no one that misses practice and, gets to play on Saturday. So those guys went through a practice today. It's just us managing our players right now.